I'm sitting on the couch, staring at my phone screen, lazily scrolling through my Instagram feed. This ritual has become almost automatic, as familiar as a warm blanket wrapped around my feet, like the silence of a Tuesday evening slowly spreading through the rooms of an empty apartment, in which neither the voices of guests, nor the clink of glasses, nor even the click of a doorknob have been heard for a long time. And suddenly, among the usual photos of cups of lattes, yoga stories and landscapes from other people's lives, I see this post, which seems to emerge from oblivion, like a ghost from the past, catching me off guard. My sister Beatrice's latest publication, not new, no, it's dated Christmas, but it was apparently posted anew, or I just came across it for the first time. In the photo, my mom and dad are sitting by the tree, smiling, their faces exuding that serene, warm, almost commercial joy that I now realize I am never meant to touch again. My older brother, David, and his wife, Sarah, so poised and perfectly proportioned as if they had stepped out of a glossy magazine about happy families, are excitedly unwrapping presents with their 2 children. Paper flies in the air, bows hang from the sofa, lights twinkle in the background, creating the illusion of coziness and belonging. And there is Beatrice herself, 28, beaming, her hair perfectly coiffed, in a dress that undoubtedly cost more than my monthly budget, holding ornaments in her hands, sparkling like proof of success and recognition. And, to top it all off, the caption underneath the post, "Best Christmas with family, so grateful to these people." Family, huh? Interesting choice of words. I'm 32, and I wasn't there again, just as I wasn't there 2 months ago when they celebrated Thanksgiving, just as I haven't been to any holiday they throw with such ostentatious warmth for 6 years now. But once upon a time, everything was different. When I was in my early 20s, full of energy and a naive belief in the importance of rituals, I would start preparing for the holidays in advance. I would call everyone, check that they didn't forget to buy pumpkin for my mother's famous stuffing, make a list of dishes, distribute who cooks what, who brings what, make sure we have enough chairs and dishes for everyone. And before we continue, write in the comments from which city you are watching this video. Enjoy watching. I was the connecting link in our family, or at least, I thought so. But, as often happens with beliefs, reality mercilessly shatters them. Somewhere along the way, something changed, not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, as if someone invisible were pulling bricks out of the foundation until everything crumbled. And one day I noticed that the invitations just stopped coming. At first, I chalked it up to a misunderstanding, some organizational snafu. You never know. Maybe someone thought someone else had already invited, maybe they assumed I knew I was welcome, and of course, I showed up anyway. They pretended to be surprised, slightly, a little awkwardly, but not hostile, not happy, but not hostile either. And then it got weird. I'd call to check what time dinner was, and get a vague, "Oh, we'll probably just do something small," or, "We're not sure yet if you'll be free." But then, after those weird, hesitant conversations, I would see photos on social media, photos of big gatherings, with the whole family, sometimes even with Uncle Enzo and Aunt Carla, who I hadn't seen since my high school graduation, and each time, my heart would clench into a fist. The worst was 4 years ago. I'll never forget that moment, because that's when it dawned on me that all this wasn't an accident, or forgetfulness, or organizational chaos, but a choice, a conscious decision. Mother's Day was coming up, and I called my mom a few days before to say I wanted to stop by, bring her flowers, sit and talk, just be there, like we used to do. And she said, "Oh, okay, yes, come on in," without joy, without expectation, as if I'd announced a plumber's visit. I bought her favorite white roses, paid more for the bouquet than I could afford that month, dressed up in a dress she once complimented. Remember saying that it made me look so pretty, and set off on the 45-minute drive to their house. I pulled up, walked up to the porch, and, silence, no one, the house was locked. I stood there with those flowers like an idiot, knocking, ringing the doorbell, then my mom's cell phone, voicemail, "Dad?" Same thing, "David?" No answer, "Beatrice?" Silence. I went home in a daze. I sat in the kitchen, putting the bouquet in a vase, just to somehow justify the absurdity of it all, hoping that someone would call any minute, explain everything, say that something urgent had happened, an emergency trip, illness, whatever. But a couple of hours later, Beatrice posted photos, They were all at Romano's, celebrating Mother's Day at the same table, Mom wearing a corsage, and, as the caption read, it was the warmest and brightest day with the most beloved family. Everyone was there, except me. They had planned it all, they had made reservations, everyone dressed up and walked out together, chatting happily, probably arguing along the way about what order to order the appetizers in and who would sit by the window, and of course, choosing what to wear in advance so that everything would look perfect in the photos, so perfect that I felt a small, almost imperceptible shard of someone else's happiness getting stuck in my throat as I flipped through them alone, and none of them even thought to tell me, not a word, not a hint, not one formal phrase, "Sophia, we're going to brunch, join us if you can." Then I finally stopped trying, because what was the point? There was no point in squeezing out a drop of hope every time, only to have it evaporate at the first sign of indifference. I still texted birthday wishes because, after all, I was not a complete monster, and because the memory of our previous relationship lived on in me for a long time, like a shadow on the wall that neither light nor night could erase. But I stopped calling to ask about holiday plans, stopped asking when dinner was or who was bringing pie, and guess what? No one noticed, no one texted, no one called, no one asked where I was, why I was gone, or what was going on with me. Well, except for my birthday, they forgot about that, too. Every year, David's birthday in March, a huge family dinner of roast beef and toast, where even Aunt Linda's neighbor showed up one time, although no one understood why she was invited. Beatrice's birthday in July, a pool party, under fairy lights, with watermelon shots and a giant flamingo cake. Mom in February, Dad in November, always something special. Dinner at a new restaurant or a family trip somewhere where you could post everything on stories. My birthday? In September, radio silence, total silence. Last year, my 31st birthday was on a Saturday, and I specifically didn't plan anything for it, leaving the day free in case, if they remembered. I just waited until 8 p.m., then, slightly ashamed of myself, I ordered Chinese takeout, sweet and sour chicken, my childhood favorite, and rice with vegetables, because for a holiday, and turned on Netflix, choosing the stupidest show, just to drown out the silence in my head. Around 10 p.m., a text came from Beatrice. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Happy belated birthday. Work has been crazy." Work, on a Saturday, in the evening, as if she were working as a surgeon on the road, or fixing a global crisis, and not sitting in the office of a fashion boutique, choosing fonts for labels. And now, when I look at their perfectly airbrushed Christmas photos, something inside me does not explode, does not burn, but just clicks, quietly, coldly, clearly, as if the last valve in my soul fell into place, and I suddenly saw the whole picture, not in offense, not in rage, but simply, clearly. Everything I thought, felt, analyzed for years, it all crumbled to dust. I don't want to try to figure out what I did wrong anymore. I don't need it. I don't want to hope that they will suddenly remember my existence. I don't want to wonder what's wrong with me anymore, because everything is fine with me, and with them it's just different. You know what I really need? My personal space, my own life, my Christmas tree. If I want a damn Christmas tree, I'll put one up and it'll be the center of my new life, reminding me of no one but myself. I close Instagram and open my contacts. Sarah Martinez, a friend since college, a realtor with a boundless energy, has been telling me for years that she'll help me find a home when I'm ready. Well, I'm ready. I dial her number. The first 2 rings are on hold. On the third, she picks up. "Sophia. Oh my God, is that you? It's been forever. How are you?" I smile, my first genuine smile that evening. "Good, great, actually. Remember how you always said you'd find me the perfect home when I was ready? Well, I'm ready." Sarah doesn't scream with joy, like some do, but there's real, genuine excitement in her voice. "Seriously? This is amazing. What are we looking for?" I lean back on the couch, feeling a weight slowly lift from my shoulders. "Somewhere nice, not huge, but cozy, in a good neighborhood, move in ASAP. I've saved enough for a good down payment." We spend a few more minutes discussing details, numbers, neighborhoods, budgets. I've always been smart with money. Maybe because I haven't spent it on vacations and endless gifts and all the other things that people who live in close proximity to family do. My savings account is impressive, and now it's going to work for me. When I hang up the phone and rise from the couch, I feel a lightness I haven't felt in a long time, like I've finally remembered how to breathe, like I've been living in a closed space for the past 6 years and have just thrown open a window. The next 6 weeks pass like a dream. Sarah doesn't just work, she searches. And then she finds it, a small blue colonial on Maple Street, just listed for sale. The previous owner is moving for a new job and wants to sell the house furnished. As soon as I step through the door, I know, this is it: large windows, a modern kitchen, 2 bedrooms upstairs, and a tiny backyard with a patio, a soft gray sofa, a white bed, dishes with blue piping, everything with such warmth, as if someone knew I was coming. I propose that same day. It is accepted 2 days later, and here I am 5 weeks after I said no more, standing in the doorway of my new house, with my keys, in my house. The words still sound strange, as if I were saying them on behalf of someone else, but with each repetition they become closer. I work at Davidson Marketing, as a senior account manager. 3 years ago, I was promoted to major partners, and since then my salary has almost doubled. That's the secret. How did I save up for a house? My family doesn't know, because they never asked. 2 weeks after moving in, with the scent of freshly painted walls still in the air and the morning sun softly pouring through the sheer curtains of the living room, I decide to throw a housewarming party, not to show off my new life, but to fill this house with people who really mean more to me than just a name in a family album. I sit down at the table with a cup of tea, open my notebook and begin to slowly, thoughtfully make a list, not out of politeness or habit, but out of a sincere desire to see those who care, who notice, who stay even when they don't have to. These are my college friends, the cheerful and noisy ones with whom we've experienced so many crazy evenings and unexpected mornings, colleagues from work, those who know me not by family ties, but by projects, deadlines, and coffee in the conference room, my neighbor Patricia, who has already brought me fresh baked goods twice and told me where the best cinnamon rolls are in the neighborhood, cousin Martha, stubborn and warm-hearted, and Aunt Rosa, the only one of the older generation who has ever asked me, "How are you, Sophia?" The only thing I don't do is invite my immediate family. Neither Mom, nor Dad, nor David or Beatrice have received a call, a text, or a card from me, and for the first time in my adult life, I am throwing a party to which they are not invited automatically, by default, out of a sense of duty or fear of being judged for yet another "Are you alone again?" Saturday comes, and my small house, not yet fully lived in, but already filled with the scent of vanilla and freshly cut grass from the backyard, is filled with voices, laughter, and good-natured bustle. People come with boxes, flowers, pies, and genuine interest. Uncle Tom brings out his famous potato salad, which he says was handed down from his grandmother in Louisiana, and everyone heads to the table. Jessica appears with a bottle of champagne, declaring that these steps need to be celebrated in a grown-up way. Patricia, smiling, invites me to book club, adding that they need a lively mind with a fine palate. I laugh, raise my glass, and for the first time in a long time, feel like I'm in the right place, with the right people. Around 4 o'clock, when the kitchen is almost empty of snacks and the discussion on the couch about the season finale of a favorite TV show is heating up, Aunt Rose gently takes my arm and leads me aside. Her voice is warm but insistent. "My dear, what a lovely party. But where is your mother? Father? David and Beatrice?" I meet her gaze directly, without looking down or smiling. "I didn't invite them." Her eyebrows rise, her voice becoming a little more cautious. "Oh. Did something happen?" I nod slowly. "Yes, it did. They haven't invited me to any family celebrations in the last 6 years, so I decided not to invite them." Aunt Rose's face changes instantly: surprise, regret, and then the expression she will probably use to recount this conversation to her sisters on the phone. I know she's the family gossip, and by tomorrow morning half my cousins will know why my parents and siblings weren't at my party. The party goes on until 8. People are taking away boxes of treats, laughing, promising to come back, inviting people to dinner. When the last guest leaves, I sit on the couch, take off my shoes, and feel the silence settle on my shoulders, not an oppressive one, but a peaceful one. This is my home, my life. 3 days later, my phone starts ringing. Mom's name appears on the screen. I don't pick it up, letting voicemail do the work. Then Dad calls, then David, then Beatrice. I don't answer. Then the texts come. The first is from Mom: "How dare you embarrass us in front of everyone? Then David, what the hell is wrong with you? Now everyone thinks we don't love you. Beatrice, everyone asks why we don't like you, it's so humiliating. I read their messages and for the first time in a long time, I laugh out loud, because they're not upset that they hurt me, they're upset that they got caught. I don't reply, not a single one. A few more days pass, it's Saturday morning, and I'm sitting on the terrace with a cup of coffee, listening to the wind rustle the leaves, thinking how nice it is to start the day without anxiety, and then there's a loud, insistent knock on the door. I get up, walk over, peer through the peephole, and my heart stops. All four of them are standing there: Mom, Dad, David, Beatrice. I open the door slowly. What do you want? I ask. Mom doesn't say anything, she just walks past me into the house, as if she owns it, as if these are her space, her walls. The others follow in silence. What are you doing? I ask, but they are already leaving. David runs his hand over the kitchen table, as if checking for dust. Beatrice looks around the living room with a displeased wrinkle on her face. She sits down on my sofa, as if she owns everything here. It's a nice place, she says with a forced smile, but that's not a compliment. At this point, Mom starts raising her voice. How could you embarrass us like that, Sophia? Do you have any idea what you've done? Rosa has been calling me nonstop. Everyone is asking why we made you a stranger. Dad nods silently, as if this should be the final argument. You should call everyone back and say it was a joke. Tell them we are a close-knit family, that you were just being dramatic. I look at them and feel something slowly but surely fall into place inside me. Why haven't you invited me to family celebrations for the last 6 years? A ringing silence reigns in the room. Mom opens her mouth, then closes it, as if she has forgotten how to formulate words. Dad looks at the floor. Finally, Mom starts mumbling something, incoherently, unconvincingly. You don't even wish me a happy birthday, I say. Mom and Dad blush. David and Beatrice return from their tour of the house. Beatrice throws herself on the sofa as if the place is rightfully hers. How did you afford it? She asks sarcastically. It cost a fortune. I look up and answer calmly. If you were interested in my life, you would know that I have been a manager in my company for 3 years now. And yes, I earn a good salary. Mom jumps in again, as if she has decided that everything that has been said so far has not justified her participation in this awkward, tense scene. Well, you never told us about your promotion, how would we know if you didn't tell us? She sounds both hurt and apologetic, as if it's my fault that they have no idea about my life. I look at her directly, calmly, without irritation, but with the clarity that comes only after years of silence and disappointment. What's the name of the company I work for? I ask, and immediately the room is plunged into a thick, sticky silence in which you can even hear the leather of the sofa creaking under Beatrice. Everyone looks at each other. Mom's gaze darts to Dad, Dad looks at David, David looks at Beatrice, and Beatrice, completely unabashed, carefully examines her nails, as if they might be the answer to my question. None of them know. Not a single person in this room who calls themselves my family can even name the company I've worked for over 8 years. No one has ever asked, none of them. I stand up, I feel something inside me straighten, like the spine of my soul has found stability. I'm not going to deny anyone anything. I'm not going to pretend that we're a close-knit family when we're not, when it's a lie I no longer want to believe. I walk to the front door and throw it open, letting in the cool air and the sounds of the outside world, which suddenly seems so real compared to the theater playing out behind me. You have to go, I say, and my mother freezes in place, a look of shock on her face. Her jaw drops, like a doll whose strings have suddenly gone slack. You're not even going to offer us some tea? She asks, as if this is the last line of hospitality I have broken. I have already done more for you than you have done for me, I answer, and my voice is even, almost gentle. At least I will let you go with dignity. I will not leave you standing with flowers at the closed door, like you did to me on Mother's Day. My mother's face turns bright red, as if my words have physically struck her. She opens her mouth to say something, and closes it. One by one, they leave my house. Dad passes me without looking me in the eye. David shakes his head, as if I am the one who is unreasonable, rebellious, not quite right. Beatrice pauses at the door, as if she is about to make one last remark. It's not over, she says, with such dramatic force that I can hardly help but laugh. No, it is, I answer, and without waiting for an answer, I close the door in her face. I lean against it for a moment, Against the cold wood where their voices still cling, listening to them argue in the driveway. Whispering, complaining, throwing out exasperated remarks, then car doors slam, the sound of an engine, and then silence. After they leave, I expect relief, peace, that feeling of release that they write about in books. I think that maybe now everything will calm down. They will pester me for a while, grumble, then pretend that nothing happened, that all this was just a misunderstanding, best left in the past. And maybe that would be fine with me, but as it turns out, my family doesn't give up that easily. 3 days later, an email from my dad appears in my inbox, the subject line, invitation to a family dinner. I almost delete it without reading it, but at the last moment, curiosity gets the better of me. The letter is dry, oddly formal, as if he were writing not to his daughter but to the boss on whom his career depends. Dear Sophia, your mother and I would like to invite you to dinner this Sunday at 6 p.m. We will have stew and mashed potatoes for dinner. We hope you can join us. Love, Dad. The word love feels foreign, as if it has been inserted into a template. I delete the letter without replying. The next day, a text from Beatrice comes through. Want to go shopping this weekend? Nordstrom's is having a sale and I thought we could hang out like old times, the good old days. What are those, exactly? We haven't gone shopping together since I was in college. I ignore the text, don't even open it, just watch it disappear into the unread pile. And then David steps in. He sends me an email with photos attached, old, faded snapshots from our childhood. One shows me when I'm 6 and he's 10, teaching me to ride a bike, holding my back while I grip the handlebars in terror. Another shows the three of us building a snowman in the backyard, laughing, wearing mittens and pom-pom hats. The email is signed off briefly. Remember how close we used to be? I miss those times. I stare at these photos for a long time, and something like longing wells up inside me, for the times when everything was still possible, when they saw me as a person, not a stranger. But then I remember, yes, we were close, when we were kids, before they decided that I no longer mattered. I don't answer. A week passes, the attempts continue. Mom leaves a voicemail, asking if I need anything for the new apartment. With an anxious, inept concern in her voice, Dad sends another invitation to dinner. Beatrice tries to call twice, but I ignore her. I think they finally realized that I'm not going to play along with their script anymore. And then, on Saturday morning, I hear a knock on the door. I carefully peer through the peephole and see that this time Mom is alone. She stands in the doorway, her gloved fingers clenched, looking different, not angry, like then, but confused, almost small. Almost the woman who once taught me to tie my shoelaces. Sophia, can we please talk? She asks, and there's a quiet, sincere plea in her voice. I want to apologize for everything. I know we've been bad to you, and I want to make it right. Her eyes are sad, tired, and for a moment I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. My birthday is in 2 weeks, she continues. I'm planning on celebrating at home, just family, no big party, no extended family. I want you here, honey, that's important to me. Just family. It sounds strange, because for the past 4 years, just family has meant everyone to them, everyone except me. Please, Mom says, I want to repair our relationship. This is my chance to show you that you matter to us. She looks at me with such genuine hope that I have to force myself not to look away, and despite everything, despite all the hurt, she is still my mother, the woman who taught me how to braid my hair, read me bedtime stories, held my hand the first time I fell off my bike. I hear my voice, as if from somewhere else. Okay, I'll come. My mother's face lights up with a smile, a real one, shining like Christmas morning. She hugs me tightly, smells of her favorite perfume, the same one she's worn for as long as I can remember, and for a moment I'm 8 years old again. Thank you, darling, that means everything to me. After she leaves, I feel a cautious, still uncertain, but already palpable hope, as if a thin crack in the cold shell of mistrust has begun to slowly, timidly heal, and I want to believe that maybe behind this lies not just another attempt to save face, not an empty gesture, not a belated strategy, but a genuine desire to change something, to come closer, to restore a connection that was broken not by one but by 100 small tears. Maybe, I thought, having almost lost me completely, they finally understood how deeply and consistently they took me for granted, as an unchanging figure who would wait, remain silent, forgive. Maybe we really can fix this. I spend the next week going over ideas in my head, wondering what could be a sign of reconciliation, something personal, meaningful, something that would show that I came not out of politeness, but because I want to believe in the best. I wander around the shops for a long time, until in one small boutique in the city center my gaze stops on a window where a silk scarf lies on a velvet pillow, dark blue, with tiny silver stars, like the night sky, woven to be worn by the woman whose name you have pronounced with the intonation of childish faith since childhood. It costs more than I usually spend on gifts, but there is something important, appropriate, right about it. This is not just a gift, it is an offer. To start anew, from scratch, without claims and reproaches. 3 days before my mother's birthday, I am at work, finishing a presentation for an important client, when my phone vibrates. Aunt Rose's name is on the screen. I pick it up, feeling a little uneasy. "Hi, Aunt Rose. What's up?" I ask. She sounds excited, even giddy. "Oh, honey, I'm so excited. I just spoke to your mother, she told me some good news." I freeze. "What news?" I ask cautiously. "That you made up. She said you were coming to her birthday party. I'm so glad things are back together with your family." And then something inside me drops, my stomach tightens, as if a stone had been placed in it. A party? I thought it would be a family dinner, quiet, intimate, just us. Oh, no, she invited everyone. Aunt Rose continues, all the aunts, all the uncles, all the cousins. She says she wants to prove to everyone that you're one big happy family again. She's been calling her family all week. So happy to have you back. I hang up without saying goodbye. I get in the car, turn on the ignition and just sit there, unable to move, shaking with rage, with pain, with the fact that I allowed myself to believe again. I gave another chance, I opened up again, and I was used again. They didn't understand anything. They don't want to restore the relationship. They just want everyone to see that everything is supposedly fine, so that no one asks any more awkward questions, so that their reputation doesn't get ruined. None of this is about love, not about me. It's about how they look. I go to the mall and return the gift to my mother. The saleswoman politely asks if everything is okay. Everything is perfect, I answer. It was just meant for the wrong person. I don't call my mother. I don't write. I don't warn that I won't come. I don't send text messages. I don't explain. I don't make excuses. If she wants to use me as a backdrop for her perfect family showcase, let her first ask where her star is. Sunday comes. Her birthday, at 5 p.m., I turn off my phone, put on comfortable clothes, turn on the oven and cook myself dinner, grilled chicken with rosemary, roasted vegetables, a glass of good white wine. I set the table on the terrace, where a light breeze rustles the leaves and the sky turns soft peachy pink. I eat slowly, with pleasure, without rushing. At 6:30 p.m., I turn on the phone, 15 missed calls, 7 voicemails, dozens of messages. The first is from my mother. At 6:05 p.m., honey, where are you? Everyone is waiting for you. The second is at 6:15 p.m. Sophia, please call back. People are asking where you are. At 6:45 p.m., my father calls. Your mother is very upset. You need to come over right now. At 7 p.m., David texts. What the hell? Get your ass over here, mom's crying. At 7:15 p.m., Beatrice, everyone's looking at us. This is so awkward. Come over already. At 7:30 p.m., Aunt Rosa calls. This time I answer. Hi, Rosa, Sophia, where are you? I'm at your mom's party and everyone is wondering where you are. She keeps checking her phone and looking at the door. Then she adds, put your phone on speakerphone so everyone can hear me. There's a slight rustling sound, and then her voice. Okay, you're on speakerphone, everyone listening. I take a deep breath. Hello, everyone, I say clearly and calmly. I want you to know that when Mom invited me to this evening, she said it would be a small family dinner, just us. She didn't mention inviting all of you. She lied to me, because she wanted to use me as proof that we were a happy family, but it's not true. In 6 years, they haven't invited me to a single holiday, not a single birthday, not a single one, and now they want to pretend that everything is wonderful, just so no one asks questions. None of this is about me, it's about their convenience, about how they look, and I'm not coming. I'm not going to pretend anymore. They made their choice a long time ago, and now I'm making mine. I hang up, the phone starts ringing again, but I turn it off. I pour myself another glass of wine and go back out onto the terrace. The air is warm, the evening is quiet, the world seems to be giving me a moment of peace. Tomorrow, perhaps, Aunt Rose will call again and tell me how everything was after I cut off the conversation. Someone will probably cry, someone will be angry, someone will pretend that nothing happened, but tonight I'm just going to enjoy the silence, and that night I sleep better than I have in months. When I wake up on Monday morning, for the first time in a long time I feel lighter, not ephemeral or imaginary, but real, physical, as if I had lifted from my shoulders an invisible, but for years unbearably heavy bag that I had been dragging, bent over, through all my adult years, hoping that someone would notice, stop, and help. The air in the bedroom feels crisper, the morning light softer, and even the sound of the coffee maker in the kitchen sounds less like background hum and more like the beginning of something new. Around noon, I hear a knock on the door. Opening the window, I see Aunt Rose standing on the porch with a casserole dish carefully covered with a tea towel, and before she can speak, I'm already opening the door, not out of politeness but because I know I need to hear it. "I brought you lunch," she says, smiling with the warmth that only comes from people who are genuinely concerned about your well-being. "That's when I wanted to tell you what happened after you hung up last night," she adds, and I invite her in. We sit at the kitchen table and she places the bowl in the center, removes the lid, and I smell the familiar, homey aroma of tuna casserole, a dish that brings back memories of her kitchen, her laughter, her comfort. Rose looks at me seriously, without her usual humor. "Honey, after you called, there was a silence so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Everyone just stared at your parents, and then the questions started." I raise my eyebrows. "What questions?" I ask, and Rose, lowering her voice a little, as if saying something almost forbidden, continues, "Uncle Tom asked your father point blank why you weren't home for Christmas, Cousin Helen wanted to know where you were for Thanksgiving, and your mother tried to explain, but she only made things worse. She said something about how busy you were at work." I roll my eyes, the old, convenient excuse. Rose shakes her head, and then David, with a medal-worthy stupidity, interjected, "She never told us about her promotion," and Helen, not to be outdone, asked where you worked. No one could answer, none of them. I picture the scene, the confused faces, the stupid attempts to remember anything concrete, as the whole family curtain slowly peeled away, revealing the emptiness behind it. What happened next? I ask. Rose sighs. People started packing up and leaving. Uncle Tom, still angry, picked up his potato salad and said he was disappointed. Helen hugged your mother, but she did it so coldly, as if she were just checking in. By 8 o'clock there were only the immediate family left, standing around a birthday cake that no one had even looked at. She leans toward me and squeezes my hand gently. Your mother was crying. She kept saying that everyone had gotten it wrong, that she loved all the children equally, but, honey, actions speak louder than words. I don't feel sorry for her, and you shouldn't. The way they treated you was a mistake, and last night was not an attempt to mend the relationship, but to save face." Rose stays with me for over an hour. We eat her casserole, talk about everything, about her neighbors, about the novel she's reading, about the spring that's slowly creeping up on the city, and not once in that hour does she say the words Mom or Beatrice. And when she leaves, she hugs me tightly, and her voice is calm but firm. "I'm proud of you, you deserve better than what they gave you." In the weeks that follow, my family tries everything they can. They call from unfamiliar numbers, as if I don't recognize their voices, but as soon as I hear, "Sophia, it's Mom," or "Hey, it's your brother," I immediately hang up. They send emails that I delete without reading. They leave voicemails that I erase. David, in his amazing creativity, even writes to me on LinkedIn with a kind of feigned warmth that looks especially false in his profile, full of numbers and achievements. Professional networking, it turns out, is now also good for trying to restore a family. A new level of absurdity. Rebuilding a family, a new level of absurdity. 3 weeks after my mother's birthday debacle, I walk into the supermarket and bump into Mrs. Patterson, the woman who lived next door to us when I was a teenager and who has known our family for over 2 decades. "Sophia, honey. How are you? I heard you bought a house, how wonderful." Her voice is, as always, sing-song, as if she's talking to a character from a daytime soap opera rather than a person. "I'm fine, really fine," I reply. "That's wonderful," she says, smiling. "You know, I saw your mother at the bank last week. She looked so sad. She said there was some kind of misunderstanding between you two." I smile politely. "It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a very understandable decision. They just kept me out of their lives for 6 years. and I finally decided that I was okay with that. Her eyes widen as if I've just confessed something shocking. Oh, my God, I had no idea. She begins, most people didn't know, but I'm so much happier now. I reply calmly, and it's true. My house now truly feels like a home where everything is in its place, not just the furniture and the books, but also me. Things are going great at work. I just signed a big new client. And the team is cheering like we've won a championship. I've started dating Tom from book club, and he's surprisingly not only well-read and attentive, but also a genuinely kind person who listens without interrupting and laughs in a way you want to hear again. My life is full of people who have chosen to be in it, consciously, without pressure, without pretense, and that's where the real value lies. Last weekend, I invited Sarah and her husband over for dinner. We grilled burgers on my patio, played board games until midnight, talked about movies, and laughed at memories. No one asked about my family. No one acted like I had to explain myself. No one reminded me of what was missing. Because, really, nothing was missing. I had everything I needed. Yesterday was my 33rd birthday, and for the first time in many years I greeted it not with anxious anticipation of a miracle, not with a pre-prepared disappointment, not with the usual feeling of invisibility, but with ease and a feeling that this day truly belongs to me, without conventions, without excuses, without anyone's expectations. I took a day off from work and arranged for myself the perfect spa day. Slow, measured, filled with the aromas of essential oils, hot stones on my back, a massage during which I almost fell asleep, and soft music that soaked into my skin no worse than the creams that were generously applied to me. When I got home that night, relaxed to the tips of my toes and a little pink from the steam, my phone was full of messages. Not from people I'd once begged for attention, but from people who decided I deserved to be noticed. Jessica had sent flowers in a huge box with a card that almost made me cry. Martha had called and sung happy birthday to me off-key enough that I wanted to record it, and Tom had brought cake and we'd watched a terrible, ridiculous movie together, laughing at every scene and eating cake with our hands and washing it down with wine and not caring how many calories it had or that tomorrow was Monday. My immediate family was silent, as always, and for the first time, that silence didn't cut into my heart. Didn't make me think I'd forgotten how to be a good daughter, a sister, a person again. I didn't wait for them to say something, didn't check my phone every 5 minutes, didn't wonder if they'd even tell me anything, because I finally understood that I was celebrating with those who were here, not with those who had long ago chosen to be elsewhere. I used to think that it was me, that I must have done something terrible, so unforgivable that my own family had chosen to cut me out of their attention, like an unnecessary note in a melody. I spent so much time, so many thoughts, so many nights wondering what exactly I had done wrong. What words I should have said, how I should have acted differently to earn their love back. Now I understand. It wasn't me, it was them, their decision to think that I wasn't worth the effort, that they could choose not to call back, not to invite me, not to remember, and the world would not collapse because of it. And for too long I accepted that as the truth, as an objective assessment of my own worth. But I don't agree anymore. I don't accept that judgment anymore. I know my worth, and it no longer depends on whether I'm invited to the Christmas tree or whether my birthday is remembered. I create my own traditions, my own rituals, and my own family of people who choose me every day, not by blood, but by love. And for the first time in many years, I'm not just calm, but inspired by the future, in which there is no place for pain, in which I am the mistress of my memories, my plans, my life. Let them keep their perfect little world, where I never was. I will keep my imperfect but real, honest life, full of laughter, hugs, evening conversations and quiet joys. And, frankly, I think I'm luckier. Write a comment on what you think about this story and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it. See you soon.